So ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to be here and proud to be representing my organization, that is Armed Forces. You see the topic that I have got to speak, from battlefield to boardroom, evolution of leadership in disruptive era. Let me tell you, my dear ladies and gentlemen, last 30 years of my life, I have actually breathed this topic. And it would be my pleasure to share few life lessons. And let me transport you a dark, cold, moonless night, date 31st December 1997. Place, Leh Military Airfield. Altitude, 11,000 feet. Rarefied atmosphere. For those who do not know what rarefied atmosphere means, ask a Fauji. Rarefied atmosphere means that the oxygen is less, very less. Your lungs scream for oxygen. This night, the mercury had dipped down to minus 15 degrees. And when the world was celebrating to usher in the new year, a lone lady officer was supervising her team that was tasked with clearing the snow from the military airstrip. After many hours of relentlessly being on tarmac, motivating her team to work harder, and gave a thumbs up to ATC. A big shabash to her team. They all said Happy New Year to each other with steaming hot mugs of tea brought from the langar. They silently accepted her as the leader. This was the sight next day. 1st of January 1998, 0430 hours, AN-32 of Indian Air Force takes off from Chandigarh Military Air Base to land smoothly at Leh Military Airfield. So as the first lady officer in high altitude and extreme cold climate area, I was tested and judged on many fronts. 2 years later down the line, in 1999, the Battle of Kargil took place. Icy heights at an altitude of 16,000 to 18,000 feet got embroiled in a battle. By this time, I was well entrenched in my role as a supply chain management expert in high altitude. I became the first lady officer to be part of battle zone in Operation Vijay. I fought this battle as a mother of one child, pregnant with another child. I was in second trimester of pregnancy. My husband was fighting the battle in the most treacherous area of Dras. But above all, I fought this battle as a soldier of Indian Army. Gender does not matter. This is a story of a time when there were just a handful of women who had any visibility in the space, and the culture was very different. Well, it is important for me as a trailblazer of that time to share the story with all of you, so you know what it takes to be first in any domain. Well, you are right. On the extreme, my left, that is me. And this is just before the Battle of Kargil started. If the problems vary, then degree and magnitude of setback will also vary. So it actually depends on what is at stake. Your setback is directly equivalent to what is at stake. So in corporate world, it can be damage to mental peace, physical fitness, less time with family. Sometimes financial stakes can be very high and damage the company's credibility. We all were glued to our television sets, witnessing the horrifying visuals non-stop for 3 days. On 27th November, a squadron of 220 NSG Black Cats, comprising of highly trained commandos, bomb disposal squads, sniffer dogs and weapons specialists, were flown in from Delhi to Mumbai. At that point of time, the mission was only one: Taj. Eliminate every single terrorist without causing any collateral damage to innocent civilians. The hostages are taken not at one, but at 3 locations. Taj, Shabad, and the Trident. That the information was radioed to the commander of these NSG commandos while the plane was in mid-air. The 523 commandos had already taken off for one mission. Now they were told that there is not one, but 3 missions. The training of Indian Armed Forces is such that automatically one mission was divided into 3. The leadership automatically emerged to take over these missions. Without any chaos, the equipment, the ammunition, they were operating differently. They had different strategies. They had divided resources. They were united in the objective of the mission. So if you see the middle picture, and that is the Shabad house, the NSG commandos were slithering down through a thin rope from Indian Air Force Mi-17 helicopter. They were wearing their black dungarees, bulletproof patkas, automatic guns, landing directly on the roof. They were the targets. When they were mid-air, a stray bullet from a terrorist down below could have damaged this chopper. And in that heavily populated area, the collateral damage would have been very high. But every factor was taken into account before this operation was carried out. And mind you, they only had time till they were flying. What is that? An hour or 2? With foresight, deductions were carried out and a successful operation was executed. There is only one word. The team was crisis ready. It is vital that intent of leader and objective of project is clear till the junior most member of the team. Even if the leader is not present to micromanage, still, different team works as a cohesive unit. In armed forces, we have a concept of war games, where war-like scenarios with multiple crisis situations are simulated. Far-fetched ideas, far-fetched problems, they are brainstormed. So commanders brainstorm the responses. The responses are made threadbare. These are rehearsed by the troops on ground. All practical problems are studied, time management is worked out, logistics are worked out, so that at the time of crisis, multiple functionaries like infantry, artillery, armored tank squadrons, Air Force, Navy, logistic installations, everyone comes cohesively together. And then we never say that we do not know, the right hand does not know what left hand is doing. This never happens in armed forces. Our responses are cohesively practiced so that there is no confusion. And on the same concept, I have established war rooms for various corporate giants and MNCs. This has helped them to be future ready and to stay ahead of the learning curve. So it's been a very interesting exercise when this war game room is established with corporates. That mind is like a parachute. It works best when it is open. You all can imagine what a parachute will be of any use if it does not open mid-air. Brainstorm the responses. Brainstorm the solutions. Train your team how to perform during contingencies. Practice, 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 practice the procedures and SOPs till it becomes a muscle memory. In armed forces, we have a maxim: those who sweat in peace, they bleed less in war. Heading huge organizations, and you know that nothing major happens overnight. Not even pandemic. What to say of this? Even battles do not happen overnight. Movement of enemy is there. Built-up of logistics is there, which is evident to the trained eye, which we call battle indicators. So as a leader, develop the skill of situational awareness. What do I mean by situational awareness? ये कोई बहुत बड़ा word नहीं है. If you try to understand, it is have an ear to the ground, have an eye on the future, and a practical head firmly placed on your shoulders. That is the first step to risk management. Your decision-making abilities during difficult times depends on how well you can judge the environment before the crisis has actually struck. Your SOPs will take care of the day-to-day working. No one needs a leadership in peace situation. You need a leader only when the going gets tough. So rise to the occasion. To many of us, the pandemic came as an act of God. But to the people who strive to be first time right, the indicators of the start of pandemic were emerging very evidently. Be situationally aware. Finally, the hallmark of leadership during disruptive times is the power of communication. When leaders communicate their expectations with open attitude, they provide clarity and logic to their team. You all must have seen that your team will have more trust in you when you are transparent and when you give clear instructions, because clarity limits miscommunication and confusion. This is the Battle of Dograi, Indo-Pak War 1965. Dograi is a small village on the outskirts of Lahore, and one of the bloodiest battles of the sector were fought here. Jawans of 3 Jat Regiment launched an offensive against invincible Dograi. Pakistani artillery का stronghold, infantry का stronghold. Their commanding officer was Lieutenant Colonel Desmond Hayde Mahavir Chakra. Now here we are talking about communication. So listen to this story with that angle. So soldiers were spread across Ichogil Canal. They were in platoon strengths and they were fanning out from the bridgehead towards enemy. बहुत भारी गोला बारूद चल रहा था. Colonel Desmond Hayde was going from trench to trench, platoon to platoon, speaking to the people, speaking to the soldiers amidst the heavy shelling. Very clear instructions. Where will we go? Dograi. Where will we meet? Dograi. And then he said, Kal raat ka khana kahan khayenge? And the Jawan said, Sab Dograi. Now he ups the ante and says, अगर सीओ साहब ने गोली लग गई तो क्या करोगे? यानी if your senior leadership buckles and is not physically present, do you need micromanagement or do you know how to work ahead and gain the objective? So when he said that सीओ साहब ने गोली लग गई तो क्या करोगे, तो one of the jawans said सीओ साहब ने कांधे पे टाक के ले जाएंगे लेकिन रुकेंगे डोगराई जाके. यानी सीओ साहब को कंधे पे उठा के ले जाएंगे. We will carry the leader physically, but we are going to stop only at Dograi. And let me tell you, even if only one soldier was alive that day, the mission was so clear that even that single soldier would have flown the tricolor. So ladies and gentlemen, leadership is a contact sport. Don't leave it only on AI. More so during disruptive times when the team is looking at the leadership for guidance. A leader has to connect with the team in a language that they understand and create an emotional bond, not a transactional. This is my last slide for the day, and I would just like to tell you that during disruptive times, only those organizations thrive where leaders take initiative. The team takes ownership of the task and together they think of out-of-box solutions. There may be times when only thinking out of box is not enough. You have to erase the box. Think of a new solution. Absolute de novo. And if you can do that, you will be the leader of all times. So ladies and gentlemen, feeling of belonging evolves where respect is earned, honesty is appreciated, loyalty is returned, and trust is gained. That is all from me. Thank you and Jai Hind.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to my Startup TV.